Now I can take my 5.100 and divide it by 2, which would be 2.550. I can take that dimension and go from my center mark this way and put a mark. Now I'll need to go back to my 5.100 and I can go from the mark that I made the other way and put a mark. And now I know where my holes are going to be centered on the pedestal. Now I'll take a center punch and mark my center marks. I'm going to use these 2.5 inch long by 1/2 inch by 13 thread bolts to attach the vise to the pedestal. Instead of just drilling a hole and putting the bolt through and putting a nut on the back side on the bottom, I want to be able to thread my bolts right into the tabletop. To thread the holes, I'm going to use this 1/2 inch by 13 threading tap. The actual hole size for a 1/2 inch by 13 threading tap is 29/64. But instead of starting this big, I'm going to start my hole with a smaller pilot hole. This will allow me to keep my holes more accurate, and it'll make the drilling go a bit easier too. Okay, that's the pilot holes. Now I use my 29/64 drill bit to drill my final hole. Only one more hole to go now. I have my two 29/64 holes drilled. So now I can get them threaded out. I'm going to use this T-handle to drive the threading tap into the steel. Before I start, I'm going to use Tap Magic Pro Tap tapping fluid to lubricate my threading tap. Start out slow, just try and keep it level both ways. You want to just turn in and then stop and break off your chip. Turn in a little bit, stop and break off your chip. Turn in, back off, break the chip off. Turn in, and I think it'll go all the way through now. Okay. Now only one more hole to go. Have a little bit of tap magic on the tool. And just keep it straight from the start. Start out slow. Keep pushing down. Make sure it stays straight. It should pretty much line up itself. You don't want to go backwards at this time. You want to keep going forward clockwise until it starts to grab. You need to keep it straight. I'm starting to straighten out and grab now. Go till it stops and break the chip off, back off, break the chip. Turn till it stops, back off, break off the chip. Turn it. I think it'll make it all the way through now. It takes care of that. That's the rough part. Now that I have my two mounting holes drilled and tapped, I can get the neat old Wilton Vise lifted back onto the neat old pedestal.